Hello everyone, here's a little video for you showing some excellent work by Mark Krutov on Twitter, who, using Google Maps imagery, has found the location of a number of surface-to-air missile systems which Putin has relocated around his own residence near Valdai Lake. This first one here is an old image. This was spotted in Valdai, 6 kilometers from Putin's residence. It's a Pantsir-S1 system. This was taken in January last year. Since then, more have been installed, so now let's get to the more recent stuff. May the 6th, a Pantsir-S1 on a little tower was installed here, 3.6 kilometers from Putin's residence. I'd guess the tower here is to get the Pantsir up and over the trees a bit so they don't interfere with its operations, its radar detections, its missile launchers, and to give it a clear line of sight with its mounted guns. Here's the second tower. You can see it's the same layout as the first. So, a square enclosure ringed by a fence, a tower with a Pantsir-S1 system plonked on top of it. The blue structures you can see may be a shelter for guards. I assume as well as the Pantsir operators, there's also guards patrolling the fence to prevent anybody potentially getting inside, as well as maybe radio equipment and that sort of stuff for the operators to use. The third Pantsir tower is here. Again, same layout, you can see the elevated Pantsir on a tower. Here's the fourth one. No Pantsir on this one. Maybe a newly constructed tower at the time this photo was taken, and the Pantsir just hasn't been plonked on top of it yet. Here's the fifth site. Now, interestingly, this site is a little bit larger, with 2 more trucks parked here, and some sort of generator in the top left corner. I wonder if this may be the battery's command post. If you look to the right, highlighted here, there's something odd in the trees. Now, I can't tell what this is, but the shadow shape doesn't look natural, and I can't see an object to cause that shaped shadow. Looks like something is hidden in there as well, but I can't be certain. Now, let's zoom out of this one slightly. You can see this Pantsir is part of a much bigger installation. Zoomed in, you can see to the bottom what appear to be S-300 or S-400 launchers highlighted in red. There's 5 of them in a row, and the launchers are up. This is an odd deployment, so close to each other like this, it's asking for trouble, as if one of these is hit by a drone or something, then it's more than likely the others will end up being destroyed as well. I wonder if these S-300s you can see here are being prepared to be deployed elsewhere in this area, and the Google satellite caught them when they were just being inspected or something, as this is a very odd layout for an active deployment. I'm not sure what the 2 vehicles highlighted here are. Look like some sort of missile systems. If anyone knows, let me know in the comments. It looks like a single tube mounted on the vehicle, but could be a double tube like an S-300 or S-400 just with a covering over it. I certainly can't tell for sure, so I'd love to hear your comments as to what these 2 are. Highlighted in red here, again, I can't tell what exactly these are. If you look close, it does look like there are launch tubes in them. They do look like launchers rather than type of utility vehicle or truck. So I think these are some sort of SAM system, but again, I don't really recognise. And highlighted here are what look to be types of radar systems and communication systems. So certainly, this is a pretty big site here, located just north of Putin's palace and north of the last Pantsir mounted on a tower that we looked at. This is certainly a key area here. Back to the Pantsir towers. This one has a more regular layout, and you can see the Pantsir hasn't been installed yet. And finally, tower number 7, another quite odd one here. There's a Pantsir tower and the enclosed blue roof structure, but also being constructed is another square-shaped building, so no idea what the purpose of this is going to serve. Before we look at where these are overall on one map, I have a Google Map view here of Putin's residence, just so you can see it. This, I've given the yellow marker. So Putin's residence is yellow, zoomed out, the Pantsir site's in blue, and the S-300 or S-400 in red to the north. Interestingly, no Pantsir batches to the west, but this imagery is all from May. So there is a very good chance, indeed I'd say it's very likely, that between May to now, more have been constructed to fully encircle his compound with SAM batteries. Here's an image of a Pantsir. So, one Pantsir system consists of 3 missile launchers a radar truck, and a command post. So with 6 Pantsir launchers here, or 6 Pantsir launch positions, as a couple of them were empty, means there are 2 Pantsir systems at least deployed around Putin's Rezidentsiya. Maybe more since this image was taken. Going back to this image here, I wonder if the 2 vehicles deployed near the Pantsir tower are a command vehicle and a radar for the battery. I can't tell for sure. Or possibly the radar and the command vehicle are here where the S-300 and S-400 launchers were seen. Some of the other vehicles scattered around this site could be the radar and the command post, but I can't tell for certain. Pantsir has a 20-kilometer range with its missiles, so shown here is the coverage of the southernmost Pantsir system. So this one on its very own is enough to cover Putin's residence and potential approaches to it by drones. These Pantsirs, you can see, are all clustered in very close proximity to each other, so the coverage of each of them does overlap each other. As well as missiles, the Pantsir is also fitted with autocannons. So here we have an overlapping mishmash of protection of missiles, short-range missiles, and autocannons to protect Putin's residence, and then at the rear, an S-300 or S-400 to protect it against potential missile threats or long-range threats. It is possible these S-300 launchers will be deployed somewhere else here, as this seems an unlikely deployment spot, given how risky it is to have them grouped up like that. Or should I say, rather, the S-300 and S-400s are here to try and protect the residents, because, as we've seen in the past, S-300 and S-400 is incapable of even protecting itself. They're basically fodder for attackers at this point. It isn't known how many Pantsirs Russia has. In 2017, they had 110 in service with the aerospace forces, with 6 more systems. So remember, a system consists of 3 launchers delivered in 2018. Deliveries continued until 2023, but maybe more are being constructed during the war. So Russia has quite a lot of them, seemingly over 200 at least. Well, of course, that number is whittled down with 24 destroyed so far by Ukraine, according to Oryx. And that true number may be higher, as not every loss is photoed or videoed or documented. But despite these high numbers, Russia has a lot of airspace to cover, and as we've seen countless times in the past, Ukrainian drones keep getting through the Moskva-sized holes in Russia's SAM network. So it is a bit silly to pretty much waste at least 6 launchers, which could be used to defend critical infrastructure instead, and of course the S-300 and S-400, purely in order to protect Putin's home. I get it having some protection, not only to potentially protect Putin himself when he's here, but it would also be quite a propaganda coup for Ukraine to hit Putin's home with a drone. But there are certainly much better uses for these SAM batteries, considering Russian infrastructure and key targets within Russia get monitored on an almost nightly basis, and Russia's SAM network just can't cope with them. It's also quite interesting that these increased Pantsir systems seem to have appeared in 2024, when Ukraine really started to step up its long-range strike capabilities. Seen on the image on screen now is the distance to the border with Ukraine, roughly. So you can see it's 652 kilometers from Putin's residence here to the Ukrainian border. His residence is located south of St. Petersburg. Now, Ukraine hit St. Petersburg a couple of times earlier in the year. I wonder if those strikes were then followed by Putin installing these Pantsirs here because he realised Ukraine could easily hit his residence. I believe it was March or April when St. Petersburg was targeted a couple of times by Ukrainian drones. Ukrainian drones, remember, have hit targets around the 1,500 kilometre mark. So Putin's residence here, clearly within range of them if Ukraine decided to target it. So certainly, the fact that Russia has deployed such an amount of SAM systems purely to protect his residents shows that he is getting a bit rattled and seems to fear that one day one of Ukraine's drones will target him. So that's it for this video. A bit of a longer one than usual, but one I hope you found interesting. If so, please click like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Now, I'm going to play a video message from Sanath about the ongoing fundraiser with him. Thanks so much for watching, and take care, everybody. Yay!
I'm now just south of Vovchanska, which is about 20 kilometers north of here. You can hear shelling over that side, but there is also shelling taking place over on the east. This particular place is where they're bringing the refugees that from the village of Vovchanska and the surrounding areas that are being heavily shelled right now by the Russians, which is why we really need this armoured vehicle. There are plenty of pickup trucks that are going into these dangerous hotspots, but there's shrapnel flying everywhere, artillery shells everywhere. Armoured vehicles are essential in this kind of environment. So with your support, we'll be able to do this work and deliver for the guys. Thank you very much.